The NFLPA has requested an investigation into the reasoning behind Tua Tagovailoa, quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, his re-entrance into Sunday's game against the Bills after what appeared to be a pretty debilitating head injury.
Yeah, it looked pretty bad. Apparently, it was his back. You heard Mike McDaniel in the press conference saying that Tua said his back was hurting.
I was kind of with everyone else when he hit his head on the ground. I assumed it was a head injury. But his legs got wobbly because his lower back was completely loose, and as he described it, it was like he said his lower back it was like Gumby or something. So that is a challenge. That happens all the time in NFL games. Everyone was so worried about, trying to talk to him through the lens of, hey, is there something wrong with your head? And no, I'm fine. And he was dealing with his back. He knew that he was losing his balance a little bit when he was getting up, but it was a completely different source of issue from what everyone else was really looking at from that prism.
But when you look at this footage and you see Tua reacting, the dude like almost collapses on the floor, right?
Yeah, so it's what's called gross motor instability is what he displayed by stumbling around. His teammates had to help him up. You see what looks like potentially a team medical staffer rushing to his aid and trying to help him walk.
Yeah.
Most people would say, looking at that, the play right before this, he fell back, he hit his head, his head sort of bobbled against the turf. It looked like he had some sort of whiplash and some kind of obvious head injury there. But Tua insisted that he'd actually had an unreported back injury earlier in the game, and that was the reason why he was sort of stumbling around on the field. He said that his back, quote, locked up, unquote, causing him to stumble. Mike McDaniel assured people in the press conference after the game that Tua was just dealing with the earlier unreported back injury, and that's no cause for alarm, and that it did look bad. It did look like a textbook sort of whiplash head injury, but it wasn't, apparently, according to Mike McDaniel. It doesn't sound like the NFLPA was buying that, so they opened an investigation. Investigation could take 1 to 2 weeks to conclude. So I guess we're going to wait and see if Tua is going to be playing this Thursday night against the Bengals.
And that's the thing, like Tua wants to play. That's why he is downplaying whatever kind of probably, most likely concussion he's having. He's acting like it's not a big deal because he wants to be in the game. They just upset the Buffalo Bills. That was absolutely insane. A lot of people, including yourself, did not expect the Dolphins to win this football game, and they did. And so he obviously wants to keep that going on to Thursday. So he's going to kind of push himself and try to see if he can get some playing time and not miss any games, not let Teddy Bridgewater get a shot to throw it to Tyreek Hill. And it really is a big year for Tua. You've heard the noise. Brian Flores didn't like him when he was the coach of the Dolphins, and people have been wondering, do they need somebody else? Do they need Brady in Miami? Do they need to go get Lamar Jackson? You hear all these crazy rumors about people coming for Tua's job, so he's trying to do anything he can to protect that job because they could move on from him after this year if they really wanted to.
Right. And, Bridgewater obviously was in for a little bit, but then Tua, of course, infamously re-entered. And, the player can only be cleared if it's been determined that in this particular instance, Tua's stumbling around did not have a neurological cause. And, of course, they're going to rely heavily upon Tua's own words.
Right.
And this is the issue. As Mike Florio of PFT reported recently, unless you're not reported, but his opinion, unless you're a major star, with a lot of job security, you would probably be more inclined to overlook a head injury so that you can continue playing. And, let's hope that, the worst possible outcome doesn't end up coming true, which is that he gets a second, potentially first, right? But a second head injury that's fairly devastating and does a lot of, irreparable harm to him. So,
but if the NFLPA is investigating this, I'm pretty sure they're going to try to put a stop to this, seeing that the game is 4 days away. Tua probably won't play. If you're somebody doing fantasy football, you're gambling on this. You're paying close attention to this situation, trying to see, okay, like, is this guy going to play this Thursday? If they're investigating it, probably going to stop it. And that's the thing too. Like, this was a divisional matchup between the Dolphins and the Bills. This was a huge game. So it wasn't only just for Tua's own job security, but part of his job security and what would make him have more of a secure job is winning the AFC East division. You know, it's pretty much between the Dolphins, the Bills, and the Patriots right now. Obviously, the Jets are likely going to be bottom of the division, and he's going to want to make sure that, you know, they're in first place, which they are now because of his efforts. So he's going to obviously probably regret maybe not telling the full truth, and maybe in a future game, if he has this happen again, people probably won't believe him as much too if he did sort of downplay this.
Well, it's the Dolphins organization itself that denied any concussion protocol for Tua during the game and allowed him to re-enter and said that it didn't have, that it wasn't a head injury that caused his stumbling.
Right.
So I think it's very possible that they do allow him to play Thursday.
And I feel like Mike McDaniel, since he's kind of this funny, weird, eccentric dude, maybe he's the guy who can get away with some of this dark stuff, trying to, kind of push a player out there to play, trying to downplay the possible concussion. He would be the guy that you wouldn't expect. If you're a teacher in your classroom, who's going to be the naughty one? Oh, he's so funny. Oh, he's so weird, right? You would not think it'd be coming from somebody like Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying right now that he is not in concussion protocol, that he cleared concussion protocol during halftime yesterday. I don't know. It depends.
Right.
Again, a lot depends on Tua's own reporting of his situation. But I think it's very possible. That wouldn't be the first time that we've seen this in the NFL, that he is still allowed to play on Thursday.
Right. And that's the thing, too. If he was in concussion protocol, what has to happen is you go through a 5-step process, basically see if you can continue practice activities. They gradually make you go through these steps and not have any symptoms from a concussion while doing these activities. Then at the very end of it, you have an independent neurological consultant who does, has their final say in whether or not you are cleared to play at the end of the week. So if he did have to go through this protocol, I think he would not even have enough time to go through all the steps and get cleared to play by Thursday. By Sunday, yes, but definitely not Thursday.
Yeah, that's possible. I mean, right now they're just saying that he has back soreness and ankle soreness. So.
Oh yeah, whenever my back hurts, I just, I get dizzy and I collapse to the floor. People need to help me up.
Have you seen the video
I don't know
yet?
where I'm at. Yeah, I have seen. I just watched it right before we were recording. So intense stuff. Either way, man, like this video if you haven't already and subscribe for more NFL news. My name is Wi-Fi Willie.
And I'm Dial Up Audrey.
Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.